So let's go. Welcome everyone to our seventh episode of Question for the Group. And today we have a lot of amazing guys with us to talk about Mac and iOS for IT admins. And I'm very looking forward to this session. And today, Niklas and myself are your moderators. And we have a very nice audience, which will now be introduced by Niklas.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining this AMA. And for the next hour, we are going to talk about macOS topics, right? And for the first one, I would like to bring Mark. A little bit about yourself, please.
Sure. My name is Mark Naum. I'm working for Microsoft. I'm specialized on Apple technologies and spending my time with a large customer, discussing the needs, and after trying to bring back internally to be sure we are developing in the good direction.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. And for next one, Oktay.
Hey there, my name is Oktay Sari. I work as a freelance modern workplace consultant and mainly focus on macOS device management using Microsoft Intune.
Thank you, Oktay. For next one, Benjamin, a little bit about yourself, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Benjamin Flamm. I am a product manager on the Intune Apple MDM team within Intune. And I focus primarily on a lot of our admin configuration scenarios for macOS and iOS, iPadOS. So things like settings catalog, declarative device management, apps, everything I probably have a hand in.
Cool. Thank you, Benjamin. And Iris?
Hi, I'm Iris. I also work in Microsoft and I work on the Intune Apple feature team with Ben, and I work closely with Mark for getting the customer feedback. And my focus is also on Mac. Recently, I've been working on a lot of the app deployment scenarios. So in the future, you will also see more of compliance related and app management related features I will be having a hand in.
Thank you. And Somesh.
Hi everyone, I'm Somesh Pathak working with Reinhard Netherlands, and my primary focus is always Apple device management with Intune. So whenever there's something new or something to be worked upon, I'm always there for Apple and helping community with the blogs and tools. Yeah, looking forward to the session today.
Thank you so much everyone for joining us today.
Yes. Good. Thank you, everyone, for the introduction. Now we will jump in our second part. In our second part, Somesh, Ben, and Iris will talk a bit about the news in direction of Mac and iOS management, what we saw at the WWDC, to see which great new features we got introduced here. And with this, I will hand over to Somesh and Benjamin and Iris.
Yeah, thank you. This year WWDC was one of the most best things that we were all admins were requesting from Apple, and there are many new great features and new news coming up. I share my screen quickly so that I can present the slides. Entire share screen. I hope it's visible now.
Now your screen is in. Yes.
Yep. So there were many new advantages that were announced, and we all as admin are looking forward to him. We go one by one quickly. The first one was Apple's Business Manager, Apple's School Manager enhancements, and the best thing that we all loved is that MDM migration. So now with macOS 26 and iOS 26, the devices that are upgraded to the latest version, you don't need to wipe anymore. You don't need to use any third-party tools. It's all integrated into the Apple Business Manager. So we just need to change the device assignment in ABM, and we can set a deadline that whenever we want to users to migrate to the Macs or iOS or iPadOS devices to the new MDM. For example, if we want to come in from Jamf to Intune, we can set a deadline and user will see a notification, just like the PSSO thing, and it's all guided access. So just few clicks and your Mac will be migrated into Intune, and it does not require any wipe anymore. So they have solved the major problem there. And within ABM, they've also now we were also always asking Apple to provide APIs. So now they have opened up the few APIs. Not everything is still available, but only for few APIs like IMI number, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, activation log status, and Apple Care. So these things can be accessed via the APIs that are available in Apple documentation. So if you have access to the ABM, there are certain roles required. If we have the access, then we can easily use those APIs to using GET, and those things will be accessible to get the data. And they have also enhanced more toward identity control and endpoint security. So that, like, for example, we can now lock that personal usage of Apple IDs, and if it's more robust now, we have more control over like who's accessing what data on the ABM side, and what identity is being used across your managed Apple IDs there. And then moving to declarative device management, we all love a lot, and Microsoft has really been working to effectively it, thanks to Ben and team. And now we are looking forward that will get getting more exciting now, because Apple is moving everything towards DDM. So now all platform moving further will be supporting DDM. So more and more things will be coming to declarative device management. That is, the device will be more autonomous, and they will be more effectively communicating to your MDM servers. Devices, like, they will be falling more quickly. Update settings and app will be new features are getting released with macOS 26 and iOS 26. Software update, we'll see much more enhancements there. Like, devices will be self-managing updates timely, and more enhanced reporting when you are using that software but using DDMs. So those settings are available in settings catalog, and we look forward that these will be very soon released in when macOS 26 comes in production. In the settings catalog also, Safari has now really gone. They have given more power to control Safari, where we can control manage the home screen. We can set like which tabs are open, how, like, it's more effective. Like, we were asking them to make Safari more like Edge, so they are making it more powerful, so it becomes more controllable by the IT. As an admin, we can control what users are using, for example, extension, homepage, browsing things. So it gets more a sort of managed browser now. App management will be now is now available for all platforms, be it iOS, iPadOS, tvOS, visionOS. And the next slide we'll see like how it's being more enhanced to it. Uh, then browser, like as I said, the browser is getting more powerful. DDM now supports full control over your Safari settings. You can manage, deploy bookmarks. You can block bookmarks. You can approve that only these bookmarks are allowed, only those bookmarks are blocked. You can enforce a default homepage also. You can apply the unified restriction policy, and the beauty is that it's all declaratively. That is DDM. So it's quite fast. It's quite powerful. So you can easily control Safari browser. You don't need to rely on like third party like Brave or other browser. So if you have Edge and your Safari, I think it makes everything good there. App control is getting more powerful. You can more easily control like pin apps to specific version. For example, if you want that this app should not be upgraded to beyond this version, so this version with this will also allow you to control the application update behavior. Like, you want to that they should be required app, they should be optional update, they should be managed update. So this thing will be more robust there for app management. And with macOS 26, we can now be able to deploy package installers, app store installers, and all those applications will be able to use declarative management. So like before this one, you can only use those DDM things to the app store, which we are using as a managed app. But now with this macOS 26, it will be allowing us to use this app management DDM using across all type of applications that we install on the using macOS the way. Identity and enrollment enhancement, we have been asking Apple thing, like I think all admins have been asking Apple that the PSSO thing that we see on the right side of the corner, that can it be more enhanced, can it be more beautiful, can it be done during setup assistant screen. I think I even tried, and I think most admins have tried options like script and all those things to bring that into setup assistant screen, but that was locked at that time by Apple thing. But now they have really listened to us, and the beauty is that now the seamless integration of PSSO setup during setup assistant screens. So when you are enrolling a Mac into Intune and we are configuring PSSO, it will be all remove few keys also from setup assistant screens. That is available in the documentation. So if we go through the enrollment flow or the enrollment behavior, it's more streamlined, it's more short, and it's more user friendly. Onboarding flow is quite easy now. So it's like they're reducing the steps from during the onboarding. So like the websites and SSO tokens, since you are doing the PSSO during setup assistant screens, so it's getting more integrated together itself. Guest modes and tap to login. So if you want to use share Max for shared mode and guest mode, then it's getting more enhanced. So you can use your iPhone, you can use your Apple Watch to just unlock your shared guest modes, and it's specifically very useful for frontline. Or example, if you have like the Max on the shops where your customers comes and you want to use a shared laptop or in the lab, then it will be really powerful. This feature is yet to be explored, that how it will be going with managed Apple ID, how it will be going with Enter ID. So this is, they have announced it. So will be really exciting to see how it folds and unfolds, to see how powerful it is. Enrollment SSO, like we have seen, like it's getting more powerful, and the best thing is it's all embedded into setup station screens, where you can see like a combine. And with, if you're using Microsoft Intune with Face ID, or you're using like MFA thing, I've tried it and it's really getting awesome more now. So you don't need to it's totally passwordless basically. So if you have pass keys on your phone and you are trying to go for SSO, it's really beautiful. Return to service and shared device enhancement. This is again, the Apple has listened to all the MDMs. It's getting more robust now. Now they have expanded it to Vision Pro, and temporary access pairing also is now Vision Pro and iPad OS. So Vision Pro, I would say, like it's not that easy to set up and as a test device, because its use case is very limited. So let's see how it goes with the return to service also. But iPad and iPhone, I believe Microsoft will be really pushing fast to it, and we will see like how it goes for the return to service things. Takeaways, like effortless MDM migration, because that's the best thing that we have seen from this WWDC. You no longer need to wipe any Macs and iPad iOS. That's the best thing. You no need to use any third-party tools or any other scripts. It's just inbuilt. You need to have the right access to ABM or ASM, and if you have the right access, you can schedule it. Users will receive a notification. So it's up to you how you want to plan. If you have a large fleet of devices that you migrate from any MDM to Microsoft Intune, you can easily schedule over weeks and or months, so that you have the correct path for user migration, and it's enhances the user experience also. Modern policy driven is getting more DDM focused now. Apple is moving everything toward DDM, and it's more policy driven, so it's more fast, more robust, and identity first. Like if you are enrolling with PSSO and you're using Enter ID, then it's all seamless. Share device, now it's expanding more to macOS. Earlier it was only to iOS and iPadOS, now more expanding to Vision OS and macOS. And when it comes to AI, they've also enhanced, like you can now use local LLM on your Macs, so don't need to use ChatGPT, which will be passing data to you there. If you're concerned about data privacy, it's still a little bit of there, but still you can have local LLMs on your Macs. And UI, if you're using this glass pane thing, it's good. If you don't like it, you can reduce the transparency also. So right now my Mac is on macOS 26. It's good, it's nice, and it's lightweight also. Recommended next steps. So still it's in beta. macOS, all the macOS and the Vision 20s and iOS 26 is still in beta. They have released the Apple Seed program also. So if you are in Apple Seed for beta, for business, for IT, go for it. Try the 26 beta version or seed version. Don't push it out to end users yet, because it's not stable. It can have some issues. So be an early adopter. Try using the 26 version, and use the feedback app to give feedback to the Apple, so that the engineers know what's not working, and use the same feedback and to share with Microsoft also, so that they can also see like what you are trying to see, what you're not trying to use, what's what's not working, so that it helps Microsoft also to get early feedback from business, so that they can also be the 0-day support for all the beta programs. Pilot with Intune, ADE platform SSO is really good. I've tried it. It really works well. The enrollment times with Microsoft Intune, if you're using with ADE and platform SSO, is really reduced. The onboarding experience is totally seamless. And DDM payloads, I know like Ben would be really surprising us with few updates coming in few days. But please share those things beta and share the feedback with Microsoft. MDM migration needs, again, plan, and it's best because it's zero-touch migrations. Data AI governance, if you are planning to use the AI that's announced in WWDC, hold on, let the stable version come in, try the local LLM first, and then allow Apple Intelligence. And plan for shared scenario, because it's not only iOS, iPad now, it's macOS, which will be going for shared designs also. So that's all for the announcement at WWDC. Have a look on your ABM and try and share feedback. Yeah, over to you, Yannick.
For the preparation and to share with us all the news. Maybe, I don't know, Benjamin or Iris, do you want to add something from your side to the WWDC?
Yeah, I'll start. So obviously, there's a ton to unpack there. I personally, I'm so excited about a lot of things. But first, I'll start off by really reiterating what Sumesh was saying. Make sure that you're testing all of these betas as early as possible and giving that feedback to Apple. That's something that they always ask us to do too, is, you know, for all of our mutual customers and anyone using these new OSs, just get in there and and file these bugs, file feedback for things that you want to see. So for example, those new Apple Business Manager, School Manager APIs, those are very much just a V1 API, and they're under active development, and they're looking for feedback. So anything that you think would be really, really cool to see in those APIs that you could build automations off of, then definitely file that feedback. One of the big takeaways that I have that I also really want to land home is, of course, I always talk about DDM. If you've ever talked to me, I think I've probably never not mentioned DDM. And so this year is really huge for software updates because they deprecated all of the MDM-based software updates workload. So all of the schedule update commands, the software update payload for Mac, a lot of those restrictions, all those things that are now in DDM are going to be deprecated with 26, and eventually they'll be removed. And so obviously for one, the immediate need there is to assess your workloads, your software update workloads for moving to DDM. But I think it also calls for a shift in mindset of how we're managing devices today, and shifting from that MDM to the DDM mindset, because this is the direction that Apple's going. It's not going to be that imperative, command-based model anymore. And this we expect will also be the case for the install application command, or any of those list install application, any of the MDM v1 based commands, because we've seen macOS also get app management extended to DDM. We expect a lot of this stuff to go away, and so my call to action for everyone would be to obviously there's the immediate concerns of, okay, well, how do we start doing this in DDM? And from the Microsoft side, we got you. Lots of good documentation coming on software updates, but also just forward looking and thinking, here's the new model of how declarative device management works. How do I want to use this, and what can Microsoft and what can Apple do with the new DDM protocol to make my workloads even easier to manage, or whatever specific scenarios I have, could we add this to the DDM protocol to make it simpler? So those are kind of my big takeaways. I don't know if Iris, I don't know if you want to add anything from the macOS side.
Yeah, thanks, Samesh and Ben, for sharing that. I think what Samesh talked about, all of the newly updates from WWDC, and Ben covered all of the call to action. I will definitely tag along on that. For the new features within Intune, we'll definitely do the testing. We'll definitely do the exploration. But on the other hand, we'll appreciate your help on hopping in, do the end-to-end testing and file feedback. On my end, I can talk briefly about how we see the priorities and how Intune as a team think about for the next year. What really excites me as a PM on macOS are mainly the PSSO, platform SSO, that one we asked Apple for a long time, and finally we get it. And it's such a big improvement in terms of previously there are two times of authentication that we need to do. And any one of them fail, then the PSSO will run into issue. This is what we see right now in a lot of the public preview for PSSO. So with this new update, there's only simplified to single authentication. It is much more streamlined than before. So this is definitely on top of our list for the priority for Intune in the coming year when we address all of the WWDC related. And then recently I talked to Samesh about the migration thing. I know migration has been such a pain point for a lot of you. By looking into the documentation, I don't see too much of engineer work or as far as the evaluation for now. But we'll for sure be making sure that we're on top of that, and we'll release our guidance to you on how to use migration to migrate to Intune based on your needs. And as a blog or as a kind of guideline online as soon as possible once we figure that out. So those are the two really top of my mind. And DDM for sure. There's a whole list of DDM related. Those will also be on top of our list for the priority. And there are some smaller fields that we mentioned, such as the shared devices, such as the resource access related. Those are smaller and it's also on the top of our list, but probably not as a big as of a change compared to the first three fields we talked about earlier. So stay tuned for our updates in the coming year.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, everyone, to share also your opinion about the WWDC. And I think with this we can jump then into the questions what we got in front of the event, but also during the event. But also, if someone has some question which pops up now, then feel free to post it in the chat, and we try to integrate this live to this stream.
Yeah, so thank you so much. And please do post your questions. We are here to answer them. So definitely go ahead and post your questions. You use the chat for the stream. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but if your question is being raised on the stream, there will be a chance to win something pretty cool in a raffle in the end. I'm not going to spoil it any more than that. Let's head into the first question. So, question number 1. Any news on when Windows Labs, will be released for macOS? So feel free to go off mute yeah.
I can
Go
take
ahead.
that one if you want.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's say like that. I'm currently testing it. What this means, it's the majority of the coding is already done. We announced it will come, and so it's really soon. Now it's really important to understand what is Labs and what is Labs in Mac OS, because it's quite different from the Windows version. When we are speaking of Labs and what Apple allow to do, it's creating an admin, like a management account that can be hidden on the device, and it will be created, the password will be random, rotated, and everything will be there. And after, the standard user will become, the main user of the account can be standard, because there is already an admin that is coming. Using this, you will be able to have your user standard from the beginning and your manage admin account there. So let's be clear on, I'm not sure we will call it Labs at the end, but this is the idea.
Okay, do someone wants to add something to this? No, then Niklas, let's jump in the next question.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. The next question is from Tobias, and he has the question: is there a real reason to use Jamf instead of Intune to manage iOS, macOS devices? This would be one of the main discussions at our customers. Do someone wants to answer this question?
I can take this one, and Mark and Iris definitely chime in. So this is a very common question that my favorite thing to do is just to turn it back onto people, which maybe isn't the right thing to do, but in my opinion it is, because what it really comes down to is, what's right for your organization. Our strategy is never to be in a checklist battle with any other MDM. Our goal is to just to build the right product and the right solutions for our customers. So yeah, definitely taking a step back and looking at what your organization needs to manage, and understanding the problems that you're trying to solve, and seeing Does Intune solve this? We like to think that, we definitely have a seat at this table. Over the past few years, we've added some incredible new features. But that's been my experience with talking with customers and partners who ask this question. Mark, I know you work with a lot of customers. I'm sure you get this a lot. Anything you wanna add?
Yeah. So if you are not the customer by yourself, or if you are, what I encourage you to do is to do a live proof of concept, a live pilot. Don't just do a paper exercise. This is the worst thing, because you're just comparing a list of feature and not what is interested for you as a customer. So do a live test, and this is how you can really see the advantage of Intune compared to other things.
Okay, does anyone else want to add something on to this question?
I think I can add something from the engineering perspective to that question. We've migrated customers from Jamf to Intune, but like Mark said, not by comparing the features on paper, but like really setting up an Intune tenant and configuring everything that is configured in Jamf and Intune. The last years, Intune has been improved a lot, and from my perspective, I'd say that you can do maybe 95%, perhaps even more with Intune these days. So you should really test what you need, and you'll figure it out yourself soon.
Maybe just a last small point there. It's important to see this also as an enterprise ID. So you just don't migrate just because you already have a license, but also because you want to manage the Mac as the same device you have in the enterprise. So macOS are not only an exception. So sometimes it's difficult for Jamf admin because they are now in their own bubble. They are doing everything. But the power of Entra ID and to be integrated with other tools brings you a lot of advantage, especially for your service desk. You can do the basic task and everything. Think about when we will have this option to manage an admin account. You don't need to be the specialist to go and check the password. Anybody in the service desk will be able to do. So it's really important to see this also as an enterprise policy, and not only I doing it because it costs nothing or because I really need this feature. No, it's a global view.
Perfect. So next question. I would like to know application deployment approach. While we have multiple packages, it needs to be installed on sequence with some scripts to add the configurations. And here's an example: Netscope, Sentinel-1, or any security apps. So what I do believe is whether it's going to be supported to add scripts while installing applications in a sequence. Could that be the question here? Or do I interpret it wrongly?
Yeah, I can take this question.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not 100% if I get the question, but my interpretation, there are two parts. What you asked, Shay. The first part is about sequencing and orchestration. The second part is, as Nicholas mentioned, if you can add scripts when deploying an app. For the first part, for the sequencing and orchestration, this has been on top of our radar for a long time. We have been working on a more simplified solution on allowing you to order the apps and scripts from agent by the alphanumeric ordering, which is working in progress, and we is expected to be ready by this year, hopefully. And on the other hand, we are working with the Windows team cross-platform on the orchestration solution for all of the Intune stuff. So I think with these two working together will really help you in terms of sequencing and making sure the packages are sending down in the way, in order that you want it to be. And for the second one, for the scripts and to add the configurations, Not sure if you have tried the pre-install and post-install scripts. Those are really gonna help you in the app-based configuration scripts. For the pre-install scripts that can help you to add configurations, and for post-install scripts, usually the use cases can be help you to verify if the app is installed as expected, or check with the sequence with other apps. So I think for the scripts related, those will really help you. And we also have a blog published earlier this year that you can find it on the Intune tag blog. So hopefully these two will help you with your question.
Perfect. Thank you, Iris. Anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, I would say the pre-script and post-script thing, these are the best thing. For example, we are customizing packages like Zscaler, Display Link, Adobe Reader. So it totally gives you the same power as VM Windows packages. So you can easily customize pre-scripts, the detection logic. For example, if you are trying to upgrade a version of Zscaler or Display Link, that if this version is existing, then it should wait or should not upgrade, whatever the requirement is. And then a post-script to give a signal back to Intune that yes, successfully deployed and now my app is detected, and based on the folder location or certificate, whatever you want, and then you get a successful reporting also back on to using postscripts. And we can also use for like deployment like dependency checks also for other apps. So prescripts and postscripts really work well. It's just the correct way of using those and correct way of deciding how you want to decide it first.
Yeah, appreciate the add-on, Samesh. And one more thing just popped up into my mind, that hopefully DDM will also help us in the future in terms of the pre and post installation scripts on making this experience more streamlined. Right now, it still relies on the check-in cycle, but Ben will be handling the DDM stuff, and hopefully we can get all of these experience as a whole package instead of you need to do it one by one and do the scripts all the time. So that's just an add-on.
Thank you. So let's move ahead with next question. Yannick.
Yes, the next question is from David. He wants to ask, I would like to know how it is possible to configure a Wi-Fi profile for macOS using Intune with randomized MAC addresses disabled, considering that this option is only available for iOS profiles, not for macOS.
Yeah, this is a really common one. So as of today, it's not possible. And Mark, maybe keep me honest, but I think people have explored doing custom profiles, but obviously there's all the issues with embedding certificates in your Wi-Fi profile and all that. So I can say that the work for this setting is being planned, but larger picture, if you can't tell the difference between the settings catalog and some of those templates, the settings catalog is it's built on our new infrastructure where we just automatically ingest Apple's device management repo, which contains all of their settings, all of the applicabilities, and then we can generate UI off of that. And so it's made it so that we can support settings more quickly. However, there still are some payloads that are like resource access, for example, so Wi-Fi VPN that are a little bit more complicated. And so from a strategy perspective, we're trying to figure out how we can bring these payloads over to the newer settings infrastructure and be able to support simple settings like this more quickly. So that's the high level strategy. Of course, the short-term strategy is, we need to be able to let you configure this setting. And so we're planning that work now, and hopefully we'll see it either later this year or early next year.
Great. Thank you, Benjamin. Did someone wants to add something to this? No, then back to you, Niklas, with the next question.
Yeah, next question. So can someone talk about platform SSO and Kerberos? Is it working well? And what challenges have you had in the past?
I can take it, PSSO.
Yeah, thank you, Samir. Go ahead.
It's working well. The only thing is like how you are deploying it. So the basic thing is the PSSO should be deployed first, and over it like the Kerberos extension profile, which is in Microsoft documentation, and they have given a very good like plist format. So simply report your configuration, that is a PDCs and KDCs name and the IDs. And if it's deployed successfully, the moment you deploy successfully, receive a notification with the key icon there, which user needs to authenticate first. And it's working well. We are using it for like on-prem file share resources and everything. So the only key challenge I would say, like I also faced for the first time, is configuring the like the Kerberos extension. If anything goes wrong in your in the settings things, then it will fail. It will give you a loop over the Kerberos extension login. So I like deploy for multiple customers here, and they're using it, and it's working really good. And yeah, one more thing, like make sure that is deployed to, if it's deployed to the devices which are with user affinity, make sure deploy to the user channel. If it is deployed to devices group only, when it's multi-device group thing. Correct me, Mark, if I'm wrong here.
Maybe just to add, everything you said is correct. Just since a few months now, you should be able to only deploy the platform SSO profile, and it should automatically generate the Kerberos ticket. It's avoid to do things that are not planned, just like to try to have secure enclave and synchronize the password with a local Active Directory. This is not working. Apple didn't think of it, so it's quite important to avoid to play with this configuration. You just get your Kerberos ticket, you can see it's working. It's also important that the new setting with platform SSO also support Kerberos in the cloud. So if it's something you are using, it's used a lot in the Windows world for Windows for Business. So it's also important to know where you get your Kerberos ticket, because there is no way in macOS to get 2 tickets and know which one to use. So last arrive is the one that is used. So if you have 2 Kerberos tickets, it's always important to test, and this is the main challenge we have. But yeah, otherwise it's working. I have a lot of customers who are using it, and it's working.
Sounds good. Thank you. Anyone else wanna chime in on this one? Then let's have a look at the next one.
Yes, the next one is from Wesley. He's asking if something similar like Windows remediation scripts will also be available for macOS devices. Currently, there's only the possibility via custom attributes.
Yeah, I can talk about this one. Remediation scripts has also been on top of our list for a while. We are well aware of the needs for it, but we have a lot of new features from WWDC, so we're gonna prioritize with all of these new list, and so remediation will be part of that. There's no specific timeline I'm able to share at this point, but I can assure you this is on our list and we are aware of it. And at the end, we also hope the remediation to function as how you see if you are familiar with Windows on Windows, that when there are non-compliant and there's non-compliant status coming up, the scripts will do the remediation work for you automatically. So that is the high level vision that we are seeing for macOS. It will be the similar thing, and we'll make sure that working on it once we get resources sorted out.
Okay, someone wants to add something?
Maybe some notes from the fields. Currently, what I use are shell scripts in combination with custom attributes. It's not really like the remediation scripts you have in Intune for Windows, but the shell scripts do something right. They said, for example, they disable your root account on the Mac devices. The custom attribute script can check if the root account is actually disabled or not, and then take action on that, and even report if you want to. So those are my 2 cents on this one.
Great, thank you, Oktay. Then I think we can go to the next question, Niklas.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So another question from Ashai. So device check-in while we deploy any apps or device inventory submissions. Do we have any method where we can enforce the device check-in or device inventory update?
I think if it's a DDM, then it's immediate, almost immediate, because if for example software update DDM things or any settings that I apply via settings catalog is DDM, so it's more immediate sort of thing that totally depends upon like it should not be so slow because it's almost real time. If you go for example restrictions via DDM thing, the moment you change the policy, device checks in and it's applied on the device there.
Yeah, that's a great point. So there's a few different thoughts that I have here too. So one of them is we've been investing in a new data platform where, kind of similar to our old gap with settings, there was a lot of cases where, Apple would expose different properties about a device in, the device information command or things like security info. And we've been investing in a more data-driven model to surface that all of that data, so that it's not we have to take a couple months just to add a single new attribute. The thing with that is that it's kind of a mix of both the MDM, like device information command, but it also uses some of the DDM status items. So as of now, it does rely on check-in for that specific feature, but the goal is that as more and more gets moved to DDM, that Intune will just subscribe to the device for any notifications and changes in its attributes. So Sumesh highlighted a great point with software updates. We have some exciting software update reporting coming out very soon, and none of that will rely on device check-in. So basically, if the policy is on the device, or even if the policy isn't on the device, if the device just has a software update available for it, the device will proactively reach out to Intune and say, hey, I'm downloading my update. And so you should see a lot more speed there. And then, as more things move to DDM, like applications, for example, those will also follow that same pattern to where we're not relying on check-in. We're just listening to the device and waiting for it to tell us if there's any changes in its status. Another part of this too is we've been investigating how we can better adapt to admins making changes in the console, and those actually, taking change on the device. So I think it might have been mentioned in one of the comments. I update a policy or I create a new policy, and sometimes it seems like it takes forever. What we're investigating is how can we make that, like, speed that up, and how can we not waste bandwidth on unnecessary check-ins. So going back to the MDM comparison conversation, one of the things that we always get asked is, I had a 15-minute, I could configure the check-in interval, and I had a 15-minute check-in interval with my previous MDM. And our rebuttal to that is to think about, is it really that you want a device checking in every 15 minutes, or do you want, Intune to be more aware and be able to be more adaptable to the device and just listen, instead of saying, hey, tell me your status every 15 minutes. Instead, it's, hey, I want to know if the password's not compliant anymore, or if the user disabled file vault somehow. And so that's been our strategy with the kind of the perception of latency with Intune. It's not that we want to just keep barraging devices with more and more commands. We want to be able to surface everything, and we want to do it in near real time, like the DDM protocol allows us to do. So I know I just said a lot, but that's kind of my I have a lot of thoughts on this space, but hopefully that's helpful.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So let's move ahead with next question, Yannick.
Yes, the next question is from Pascal. Pascal was asking, are macOS apps planned to be supported in Enterprise App Management in Intune Suite? And if so, is there any timeline or roadmap available?
I don't have a timeline roadmap available, but I can assure you that my coworker Arnab is actually working on it, and so for the EAM support, we'll also expect it to be similar with the experience with Windows in terms of how you manage apps. Hopefully by this year. But we'll keep you posted once if there's any private preview or if there's any opportunity to join the early testing. For sure, we'll make the group aware.
Great. Thank you, Iris.
Maybe just to add, we have great tools that are made by MVP around Intune these days. And they are dedicated to Intune. So this is something that is new, and it's showing that Intune is more and more used. There is one named Intune Brew. I suggest the people to look, because for a lot of applications, this tool is fantastic and it's allowed to push the public application. So this is one of the tools around Intune that is great. And I'm sure Shomesh can give more of these tools.
No, you get a perfect example in Intune Brew. More tools are in pipeline, so definitely.
It's
Yeah.
always good for all of the community tools which are out in the field.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mark. Intune
you,
Brew
Mark.
is definitely the just will serve what you need for the EAM right now really well.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
thanks
Thanks
Mark
to
for adding
Uga.
that.
Thanks to Uga for releasing such a good tool for the community.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
good.
Thank you. So, what do you think, Yannick? One or two questions more?
Yes,
That would be
two
accurate, right?
additional ones, I think.
Yeah, sounds good. So, Lorenz, thank you for this question. We manage a large fleet of iPads enrolled in shared device mode through Microsoft Intune. What are the recommended best practices for managing iOS and iPads updates in this environment to ensure stability, security, and minimal disruption to users?
So software updates is one of my favorite areas, especially like Samesh was highlighting earlier, just all of the improvements that Apple has brought to them through DDM. So I'll give some of my recommendations, and I'll also take a note down because as like I mentioned earlier, we're adding a lot of new software update documentation. And so I think that having a section dedicated to shared devices could be useful too. But my recommendation is to, at least for shared device scenarios, is to identify a time that works best for updates, if that's possible. I don't know if there's maybe a maintenance window or something that your organization uses, but the idea with using a declarative software update is you can enforce the deadline. And so let's say Saturday at 5 p.m. is a terrible time to update for this device, but Monday at 1 p.m. is perfect for whatever reason. You can specify that software update to install down to that specific minute. So I would highly recommend exploring DDM software updates for using that if you haven't. And then obviously, because the older stuff has been deprecated, that's kind of my recommendation for all software update deployments, regardless of whether they're shared or not. But I'll let anyone else add if they have anything to.
Yeah, I can give a like practical example. For example, this I was supporting a large airline customer, and it was a typical that the shared iPads, like the crew and all those needs to use. So as Ben was saying, it totally depends upon what persona of user base is there. So you need to define like what persona is there. If they are factory iPads, if they are like on the job iPads, so you accordingly you can use maintenance windows for the DDM thing, so that you checks in perfectly at that time, and you can control the delay and the defer things. And for disruptions, is if you are using the correct personas and correct combination of DDM settings catalog, and I would say there would be minimum disruptions because you know what you are controlling and what users will be getting it at what time. So the best practice is understand the use cases, understand what time they are, the devices will be available, ask them to plug in it at the socket because they're shared devices. They need to be plugged in properly so that they adhere to Apple guidelines of charging, battery level, Wi-Fi level, and all those things. Note it down, make a plan, and then you work it out. It will definitely be the best solution that will be having everything as stability, security, and minimal disruptions.
Perfect. Thank you. So for our last question, probably for the day, Yannick, take it away.
Yes, the last question from today, I think it's a hard one. It's from Stefan, and he's asking, is AAD join permissions mandatory when register platform SSO for Intune macOS devices?
Yeah, I can talk to this from a very high level. You know, where this is, I think, a little bit more. If you're looking for a more technical conversation, then we have some great contacts on the Entra side of things. But the way that this works with Platform SSO is Platform SSO does create in Entra ID join, AAD join, for the sake of this instance in Entra. And part of the reason for this is because, you know, I'm sure you've heard about all of the security benefits of Platform SSO. And so previously with the workplace join, where the Mac would be just Azure AD registered, that identity was actually stored in the keychain, versus now with Platform SSO, it's hardware backed, it's stored in the secure enclave. And so that's the reason for the Azure AD join. And I don't want to out Entra, but I believe that there are eventual plans for Azure AD join to be the only method going forward for macOS devices. But I'll let anyone add any additional thoughts that they have to.
Well, maybe just to say that there is a settings, and these settings must be put to yes. So your user must have a right to be in Entra ID. So it's a settings in Entra ID to say this user have a right to join, and you can say all user, or you can specify a group. Both are working, but if your user in the group is not in the group, it's not working. So.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So I would say that was our last question for today on Mac OS management, but definitely, I mean, we have hashtag question for group in our LinkedIn group, right? So keep the conversation going. If you have more questions that have not been answered here live with us today, definitely go ahead and I know that Somesh is and Octay at least as well. They are pretty. They are in there. They won't miss a thing. Sorry, guys. But I know you're pretty active in the group, or really active actually. So if you have more macOS questions, I'm sure they are happy to answer them over there.
Yeah, all good, Nicholas. Appreciate it.
Yes, I know, right? I guess I owe you
maybe just
beer
to
after
add,
this one. Yeah.
Maybe just to add, Niklas, there is also a dedicated group for Intune, because I saw the question, what is the best way to contact us and everything. So in LinkedIn, so you just go to your browser, you go to aka.ms/macadmins, and it will bring you to a linking group. And it's a lot of people from Microsoft, a lot of customers. There is more than 4,700 people now, I guess. So it's also a group to be in, where you can find a lot of questions and answers. And a lot of people from Microsoft monitor that. So don't hesitate.
Perfect. And
Just to add to that, Mark, I think it's also a good opportunity to maybe register for the Microsoft Customer Connection Program, because that's also a very good way to provide feedback to the product teams.
Absolutely, both are okay.
so, and I did promise a raffle, didn't we, Yannick?
Yes,
Right?
as always.
This is pretty cool. So for our raffle, if you submitted a question, if it was added here on live with us today, this will be the prize. We will raffle out a ticket to the MEM Summit 2026. So something to look forward to, right? So, well, Yannick, take it away,
Yes,
please. And good luck to everyone.
Yes, good luck to everyone. Also, many thanks to submit the questions, to be active in the group, because this is the reason why we have such an active community. And it's I think it's always helpful if you have such a community behind you when you're on sysadmin, when you have a question, if you're stuck in somewhere, that you can ask, or that you can also read blogs with some news. This means thanks to everyone. Also, thanks for everyone who take care, and also thanks for everyone who submit the questions today. And with this, I will start to spin the wheel. I was very busy to put all the names in which submitted questions during the session. And now let's see who is the winner for our ticket. Let's go. Good luck to everyone. And the winner is Robert. Nice.
Robert Hamann, congrats.
Congrats. We will make sure that we reach out to you afterwards to clarify all the details. And I think with this, we are done for today. Again, thank you very much for everyone who submit the questions. Also, thank you very much for all the speakers who take care to answer as much as possible questions today. And also thanks so much for the quick introduction in the beginning about the WWDC. Then with this, thank you everyone, and have a nice rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.